Mazuma TV back in the building, man. What's going on, y'all? Shout out to Mazuma Nation. Shout out to the Mazuma Mob. We in the building as always. I hope everybody's having a blessed, beautiful, positive, productive day. Thank God it's Friday, man. On my way to go get it as always. I hope y'all doing the same. On the road to 2K. We about to hit that 1100 mark. Thanks to the nation. Thanks to the mob for making this possible. Now, what I want to talk about today is an article that I had seen on Boxing Scene. And it was about Derrick James, you know what I mean? I guess he was talking to the media, kicking it, whatever. And he was speaking on the whole Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence rematch, you know what I mean? There hasn't been much that's been said about it lately. They've been real quiet. They've been real quiet in terms of exactly when the fight's going to be. I'm sure they don't have that figured out yet. What weight is going to be at 47 to 54, because there's a lot of back and forth, in all honesty. And exactly where the fight's going to be televised, because as far as I'm concerned, Showtime has closed its doors to boxing to everybody except Canelo. So are they waiting until PBC gets some type of network deal? What is it that they're exactly waiting for? I'm not sure, but regardless, there's a lot of questions that haven't been answered. But what stood out to me during this article was what Derrick James has said. According to Derrick James, he feels like Errol Spence will be a totally different fighter going into this rematch, because if it's at 54, he won't be drained, he won't be depleted. You know what I mean? That was something that had been going around for a while. A lot of people said going into the fight that Errol Spence didn't look right. He looked like he was drained, and that he left all his fight at the gym, and it was pretty much like a fat camp. Like, he was pretty much cutting weight. He didn't get to focus on actually boxing or anything like that. And in all honesty, from my experience, I've been in the game for a little while now, and I've seen fighters undertrained, I've seen fighters overtrained, I've seen fighters drained. And I ain't gonna lie to you, man, that looked like a shell of Errol Spence. It looked like something that definitely had happened during camp. It's no excuse at all. Errol said he didn't have any excuses, and if he had one, he wouldn't give it to you. You know what I'm saying? So it's not trying to degrade Terrence Crawford's performance. He had a phenomenal victory, one of the most dominant victories I've ever seen at a high level. In my honest opinion, I think he's fighter of the year, if we speaking truthfully, if we speaking objectively. And this is somebody who was rooting against Terrence Crawford. I was rooting for Errol Spence to win. You know what I mean? So there's no shade on Terrence Crawford, you know what I mean? But I'm not going to sit here and act like this was the Errol Spence that I was accustomed to seeing. This ain't the Errol Spence that fought Lamont Peterson. This ain't the Errol Spence that fought Chris Algieri or Kell Brook. Not even Danny Garcia or Sean Porter, you know what I mean? He didn't look like himself. And there could be multiple reasons. There could be a lot of things that could have happened that caused that. But in all honesty, he looked like an overtrained fighter. He looked like he overtrained. You know what I mean? And if anybody knows anything about preparation for fights, being overtrained is just as bad as being undertrained. You know what I mean? Man, this shit crazy. But anyway, what I wanted to get across was he was definitely undertrained. He was overtrained in my opinion. And I think that played a solid part as to why he performed that way, and pretty much why he got dominated the way he got dominated. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's plain to see in all honesty. However, I don't think that's the main reason why he lost. If we speaking objectively, if we speaking from the most unbiased perspective possible, I honestly feel like styles played a big part in this fight as well. Errol Spence is a naturally aggressive, come-forward fighter. Likes to break his opponent's will and overwhelm them with volume and combination punches. And Terrence Crawford, somebody who's an actual, he could be a sniper. You know what I mean? He sets traps real well. He has some solid punching power. And he pretty much is an extremely intelligent fighter. And we've heard trainers like Teddy Atlas said that he's one of the best fighters instinctually that he's ever seen. So taking all this into consideration, I really feel like styles has something to do with how the way the fight turned out as well. Not just Errol being drained, depleted, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Do I think 154 could give Errol a better chance? Yeah, but I still think the same difficulties that Crawford presents is still going to be present during this fight at 154 pounds. That's what I honestly think. You know what I mean? And, you know, Errol's fell in love with this style where even in the Sean Porter fight, he fought Sean Porter's fight because he wanted to prove that he was the bigger dog. He wanted to prove that he could break a fighter. He wanted to prove that he could be the aggressor the entire time. And he completely disregarded his actual boxing ability, like the one he showcased against Mikey Garcia. I thought that would be the performance he would try to get off against Terrence Crawford, but I guess he took like a Jarrett Hurd approach, juggernaut, aggressive type style, and assumed that he could break Terrence Crawford. In all honesty, from that point of view, it seems as if Terrence Crawford slightly underestimated Terrence Crawford's strength and overall resilience. You know what I mean? I think he automatically assumed he was going to break Crawford's will because Crawford got dog in him, and he thought that he was going to be the bigger dog that night, and it just didn't turn out that way. You know what I'm saying? So, do I think Errol's weight has something to do with his performance? Yes. But do I think that's the main reason why he lost? No, not at all. So, that's my personal opinion. I do think that Errol will have a better chance at 54, but I still got Terrence Crawford winning based off of what I've seen. And in all honesty, if we really think about it, as physically stronger Terrence Crawford looked against Errol Spence, you could honestly say, like, okay, maybe the weight has something to do with it, because in the majority of Errol Spence fights, he was the stronger guy. You know what I mean? He was a stronger guy. He was able to physically move people around, and against Terrence Crawford, he wasn't able to do that at all. It seemed like he had very minimal strength going into this fight, and Terrence Crawford was pushing him all around the ring. It was like small pushes, and he'll fly across the ring, had zero punch resistance. He got dropped with a jab coming off of a left hand. You know what I mean? And I understand Terrence Crawford's a right-handed guy, and when he stands southpaw, his power hand's in front of him, so that jab feels like a right hand, feels like a backhand punch. You know what I'm saying? So that could be a reason, and it was flush on the chin. But we've seen Errol take some big shots and stand up to him pretty well, and in this fight right here, it seemed like he could stand up to very minimal damage. You know what I mean? So I do think that, really thinking about it, the weight cut may have had a real bad effect on Errol Spence. You know what I mean? He did look weird walking into the arena. It looked like he was off an edible or some shit. You know what I'm saying? But that's just my take on the whole subject. You know what I mean? That's my thoughts for the day. Derrick James says that Errol Spence will be better going into this fight at 154 against Crawford because he won't be so drained, he won't be so depleted. You know what I mean? So that's the excuse that they putting out there. He was drained, he was depleted. When thinking about it objectively, they may have a point. You know what I mean? But we'll just see at the end of the day. More information will come out in due time. That's my take on the situation. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Do you think that Errol Spence's weight cut had anything to do with his performance? Or do you just think it was a style matchup? You know what I mean? Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. This is Mazuma TV. Thank you for tuning in. Hit the subscribe, hit the like button, of course. And I'm out of here, man. Peace.